So the long journey of the GST finally coming into effect from midnight. Now, there are people who will say it could have been better, but then I've been hearing all day long people saying don't allow the perfect to become the enemy of the good, allow it to happen, and then changes can keep coming. I guess one of the big positives that we can, however, take, whatever else you may say about it, is the fact that here is a bill that you did eventually have the centre and the states all working together to try and get something done in national interest. And by the way, you also had the government and the opposition eventually coming together to agree on some sort of a consensus, work in the GST Council and get the GST through. So let me just start getting some very quick snap reactions from all of our experts out here on GST, and then I have many of our reporters are out there at markets with truckers, and we'll go across to them. But Sachin Pilot, if I can just start with you, if you look at the history of the GST, the story that we were just showing, a lot of it is Congress. It was a Congress idea, and the Congress did eventually help in getting this through. Isn't it somewhat sad that tonight in Parliament, when at midnight GST is going to come into effect, the Congress has decided to boycott it? Why did you not just say, well, okay, we'll go there, we'll be part of it?
It is very sad. Vikram, first of all, the GST is something that the Congress party has supported in the past. It is our baby, if I can not exaggerate and state the facts. But you see, what's happened today is that India today is at 12 o'clock going to have the highest GST rates in the world at 28%. When we in the Congress party at 18% went to the BJP and said, please support us, that it's too high. Now at 28%, and this one tax, one country is becoming so complex and complicated, the government not being ready is one part of it. But is the industry ready? Is the small trader ready? And I'm really surprised at the way it's been projected. It's a tax reform. It could have happened in any way, but the way it's been, the propaganda around it, it's making it look like as if, you know, it's something bigger than what it is. It's a great tax reform to happen.
Sachin, you said it's your baby. Sachin, you said it's your baby. The baby is being delivered. It's your baby. The baby is being delivered at midnight. Now, you may say that the baby could have been...
ideation, Vikram...
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Vikram, the way it's been now pushed through, I'm saying the thought, the idea of it came out long ago. It's been years now. For 7 years, the BJP opposed it, and today when we are saying, yes, we'll cooperate, get it passed, but there are a few concerns. Listen to what we have to say. At least make it a stakeholdership. The BJP actually just wants today to have a show on its own, and not just the Congress, the entire opposition is not there today, and I think that speaks very poorly of the government's governance record and the way this acted. If the government wanted, every party could have been on board. It would have been a remarkable achievement, but unfortunately, the entire opposition was not consulted in the way it should have been done, and there are a lot of lacunas that we wanted to point out, but this hurry to stake claim, to take ownership, I think has led to this.
Okay, let me just get everyone else on this. Dr. Shettigar, you heard what Sachin said. I guess what the government would say in response to that would be to say that it is because we work very hard to try and get a consensus that you actually do have some of the complications that are being spoken about, because that's what the GST Council eventually came up with. You have to meet lots of competing demands.
Now, keeping apart that credit part, though it started in 2000, in fact, with the tax reform committee headed by Kelkar, actually it started.
Yeah.
But I am not trying to take the credit, forget about that. But as far as the issues Sachin Pilot raised that, in fact, the GST Council decides on the basis of the consensus, not on the basis of the majority. And the GST Council, there are a Congress government is represented, it is a Karnataka or Himachal, their representative was there and all. So they are a party to that. Now I cannot understand how, whether it's a Congress or the other opposition parties are boycotting, they are all party to that. And probably the problem is with them that now this is taking place during the different government, that is NDA government. Probably they are not comfortable with that actually. I mean, these things are coming out from his mouth that they are trying to take the ownership. It is not the question of ownership, and in fact opposition has been invited, and the former Prime Minister, former Finance Ministers were invited to be on the dais, but still I cannot understand how can he say that.
Okay, let me try and step aside now, having got the politics into it. Let me now try and step aside from the politics and just try and get some of the experts in to weigh in on the economic merits or demerits of this. So let me start with you, Sajid Chinoy. You've been arguing for a while that GST could be one of the most important and significant reforms ever in India. Now, what we've got in effect today may not be perfect. There are obviously lots and lots of compromises. The chief economic advisor was telling me today that over a period of time, they're hoping to fix some of that. In its present form, do you still see it as a major landmark reform? In its present form?
Vikram, I do. I think analysts very often are guilty of hyperbole, and everything is very often called transformational and game-changing. This truly is. Yes, of course, we would like a better design. You'd like the base to be broader. You'd like fewer rates. You'd like lower rates. But despite those caveats, the fact is we're still going to, for the first time in history, have a common market for any good or service. You now have 30 segmented markets. We're going to have a common market. This is tantamount to India signing a free trade agreement with itself. So I can't overstate what the productivity benefits are going to be over time because of having a common market, A. And B, we've never had a situation where you've had a value-added tax for the entire base. You've had value-added taxes for separate bases, and therefore that's left a lot of lacuna in terms of tax compliance and the tax base. So I think, yes, of course, let the good not be the enemy of the best. Things should improve over time, but despite these caveats, we will end up with a common market. We're going to end up with huge efficiency gains. You're going to most likely end up over time with much higher compliance and therefore much higher tax revenues. And I think a year from now, when states in particular get more comfort that some of these dynamic properties of the GST have been achieved, I think there'll be much more willingness to reduce rates and collapse it into a few brackets. So I think, let's not lose sight of the big picture here.
All right, let's not lose sight of the big picture. Before I come to the rest of you, actually, I just want to illustrate that point about a common market. And let's just go across to Nikhil Pandey, who's there, because he's with a group of truckers, and they are all looking forward, I guess, more than just about anybody else in the country to GST, because those long nights that they have spent waiting in the borders between one state and the other, trying to pay octroi, trying to deal with shakedowns. But for many of those nights could now be a thing of the past. Nikhil, you're with a group of truckers there. What are they telling you?
Well, Vikram, we're on the sort of the main toll, the state toll between Punjab and Haryana. And if I can just ask my camera person to pan and show us familiar signs, trucks have lined up for many, many hours here, just about 2.5 hours, still the GST rolls in. Let's get a quick sense now from those in the transport fraternity themselves. सैनी जी, आप ट्रक चलाते हैं, अमूमन ऐसे टोल पे कितना टाइम लगता है, कितनी पर्चियां कटानी पड़ती है यहाँ?
सर, पर्ची तो हमारे को ज़्यादा नहीं कटानी पड़ती, लेकिन यहाँ टाइम बहुत लगता है, क्योंकि हम जब दिल्ली से आते हैं, हमारे को दिल्ली से आने में यहाँ 3 घंटे लगते हैं, और यहाँ पे खड़े होकर हमें 4-4 घंटे करना पड़ता है, कभी किसी चीज़ की वजह से, कभी किसी चीज़, कभी इंस्पेक्टर नहीं होता यहाँ पे, कभी फोटो स्टेट वाला नहीं है।
माने सफर से ज्यादा टाइम आपका टोल बूथ पे लगता है। अमरप्रीत जी, आप ट्रांसपोर्टर हैं, जीएसटी आने के बाद क्या बदलाव संभव है ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री में, कैसे बदलाव आ सकते हैं?
जीएसटी आने के बाद ऐसा हो सकता है कि ये बैरियर वगैरह की जरूरत ना ही पड़े, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी टैक्स पहले ही पे हुआ हो और यहाँ पे जरूरत ही ना पड़े रुकने की ड्राइवर को। तो मैं 20-25 साल से पीछे ट्रांसपोर्ट का व्यवसाय कर रहा हूँ अम्बाला में, तो मेरी अपनी भी खुद की गाड़ियाँ हैं, लेकिन हमें यहाँ पे टाइम ज़्यादा ख़राब होता है। टैक्सेशन डिपार्टमेंट का ये बैरियल है यहाँ पे, टोल बैरियल पंजाब का, तो जो भी गाड़ी जाती है उसको परेशानी होती है। कई बार ड्राइवरों की वजह से भी हमें बहुत परेशानी का सामना करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि ड्राइवर की नासमझी के कारण कई बार बैरियल क्रॉस कर जाते हैं गलती से, तो उसका खामियाजा भी जो व्यापारी को और ट्रांसपोर्टर को भुगतना पड़ता है।
तो मानिए जो सारी समस्याएं हैं इनका समाधान होगा। So Vikram, the sense that we get then both from the truck drivers and the transporters is that they are hoping and expecting that the long lines, the long queues, the amount of time that would take to finish the tax processes would be solved. It would make the transport business more efficient. It would cut down the time and of course the quantum of taxes as well. So those are the main things that they're looking for. 2.5 hours till the GST rolls behind us. You can see the long line of truck drivers still standing on this excise toll booth, Vikram. So we will be tracking all of these developments and of course bringing that to you, Vikram.
So that clearly one of the big advantages, and people behind you perhaps one of the immediate beneficiaries of that. one market concept that Sajid Chinoy was just speaking about. We do have with us Arvind Datar, though, who's been one of the more vociferous critics, if I can use that phrase, of GST. In fact, I think, Arvind, you said that it's about to unleash devastation upon the country. Why are you so opposed to GST?
Well, I think for one, this is not the real GST that we wanted. Basically, we have perhaps the most complicated GST system in the world with the highest rates of tax. I mean, even the country's second is way behind us. Just to give you certain factual details, we have 4 central enactments. We have about 16 rules. On 28th of June alone, we had 61 notifications that have been announced. The FAQs runs to 223 pages. Your tariff is about 700 pages. And in the Act itself, there are approximately 220 places where they say they will be issuing rules or making notifications. So the fact remains that we are going to have the most complex system that is going to come in. We have multiple rates, and apart from multiple rates, the problem is further complicated by the fact that within rates you have got sub-rates. For example, within hotels you have got multiple slabs, which is again going to lead to problems. Footwear, shoes and so on, clothes. In different sectors you have got rates within the thing. For example, branded food is a rate, unbranded food is a rate. All this is going to lead to more and more complication, and this is just the beginning. And unless we really decide that we are not going to complicate the matters further, we are in for a lot of trouble. Okay, so that's the crux of the criticism that we are hearing from you, Arvind, and others have said the same thing. Too complicated. We should try, and we should have simplified it, and we should still try and simplify it. Abhay Aima, before you, I just wanted to get your sense of it. We've heard 2 views from the experts. I mean, Arvind had a certain view, Sajid had a different view. What is your take on this?
See, it is not definitely the perfect thing that has happened, but it is clearly a landmark that has happened. And if you were to, you can always criticize and say this is not happening perfectly, but then like in the last 20 years it has never happened, it would have continued like that. So it is better, you know, some decision is better than no decision. You will have problems, you will deal with them, and I'm pretty sure the way the government is going, they'll deal with it. But broadly speaking, 2 major changes that I see is that tax compliance is going to go up humongously. With this, with Aadhaar, with technology the way it is, I don't think people are even going to. So a lot of criticism that you see from traders is also because they realize now it will be very difficult to get out of the tax net. Also, the unorganized sector, which had a clear advantage, who didn't pay the tax, will now feel the pinch, so market will become more competitive. Besides of course, the obvious benefits that are going to be there. Having said that, yes, there is going to be a problem. Yes, this is a new thing. Yes, you know, the Newton's third law, body continues. You always have, whenever you try to change, you always have people trying to. But if people took a broader perspective and looked at it from the country's perspective, whether you're on the opposition or not, I think everyone should welcome this move.
Everyone should welcome this move. I'm going to come to Narendra Madan of the traders. But before that, M.K. Venu, quick take on what you've just heard from some of the other economic experts saying.
See, Vikram, I was listening to Vivek Debroy, who was saying that this is far from perfect. I was listening to Adi Godrej, who's been one of the biggest supporters of GST. I have also, in my write-ups, have supported GST. He's now saying that it may not be that disinflationary, although it may not be inflationary. So I see a lot of doubts even in the minds of people who have been supporting this, and that's mainly on account of design and implementation. So I feel design,
the complexity issues that Arvind
Arvind Datar. Arvind Datar is a tax expert. He's for decades he's been dealing with the excise, tax related matters, and there's a lot of substance to what he was saying in terms of rules not yet having been fully prepared, laws. Besides all that, Vikram, one big design issue for me is that 40% of revenues come from energy sector, real estate and liquor. Now, these are huge sectors. That means your 40% of your revenues are not under GST, right?
Okay.
And how they impact the rest of the economy. If you look at, if you total up the petrol taxes today, diesel taxes,
yes, a large parts of it have been left out. So it's, I mean, I think that's, but frankly, just about anybody in the government has spoken to today has said
so finally, if they are saying that everybody is saying we'll refine it over the next 1 or 2 years, So I would suspend my judgment until it is refined.
Until the final refined product has come. But let's just go across again to Maya Sharma, who's there in Bangalore at stores out there. A lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement. Maya, you've already done whatever shopping you had to, expecting rates to go up? Are you waiting for the Muhurat session or a bit of both? The more the shopping, the better in general.
Well, the post-midnight Muhurat session does sound a little exciting. We're seeing offers here with every 1,000 rupees of shopping, you're going to get 300 rupees off. And that sounds worth waiting for. Joining us, Mr. Venkateshwar Kumar, he's CEO of Future Group here in the South. We've already got people waiting outside. So what is the plan right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm very surprised that people have already started building up outside. Customers are waiting. So what we're doing is that we're participating in the biggest change which is happening, which is one nation, one tax, and which we believe that is something which is big, which is happening. And as customers, when they want to enjoy it, we would like to see them here at Big Bazaar. So we're having a Muhurat shopping starting at 12 midnight till 2 a.m. wherein we are passing on all the benefits that we are getting to the customers between 2 and 22%.
And you're selling just about everything here. Now, are most of the prices going up or going down? What's your assessment?
Yeah, but what we are doing is that we have done an assessment, and whatever benefits that we are getting, we are passing on immediately.
Okay.
That is starting at 12 midnight. It's 2% to 22% on food and on home.
Yes.
And apart from that, for Muhurat shopping, that is today at 12 midnight, to participate in the big change that is happening, customers are going to get on purchase of 1,000 rupees, 300 rupees cash back on Future wallet.
Now, the retail price is actually marked on all of the products and every single thing. When there is a change, how are you going to be managing that? Are you putting stickers on the items, or is it all on the computer? How are you going to manage the price changes?
So there are clearly, we have our talkers which are talking about the price change. There are labels which are talking about the price change, and the bill and the invoice which is going to come out, which clearly will show them the benefits and savings.
I think we even have customers coming in. You're also coming in to catch the benefits, a customer here?
Yeah, I just came to shop.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
From midnight, there's going to be a difference in prices as well because of GST.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay. Yeah, I think I'll shop before midnight.
Before midnight, so not necessarily waiting, but we are getting people actually coming in now. So are you going to be waiting till midnight in order to take the benefit of GST, or are you finishing your shopping now?
We will see. We will see whatever the discounts are available. Then we will catch up.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. We'll be coming back to you again, of course, when that big shopping starts at midnight.
Maya,
but here
Maya,
at the store, getting ready for
simple
GST
tip.
with a celebratory shopping fest.
Simple tip. Tell people as they're walking in, they should switch on NDTV right now. We're going to continue to have those graphics up. What's going to be more expensive and what's going to be, a cheaper post-midnight. So then they can decide whether they want to buy it now or after midnight based on what they're seeing on the prices. So, we can start getting those graphics up. Actually, let me just turn to the man himself, who's Rajiv perhaps knows more about what's going to be more expensive or not. Yes, look, Arvind did say it is complicated. And I can assure you, we've also gone, we've been trying to rack our brains as to figure out what's more expensive and what's less. By and large, prices going up or down. Adi Godrej was telling me earlier in the day that he thinks by and large it's going to be disinflationary, prices will come down. What's your take? Most things more or less expensive?
By and large, there shouldn't be any material changes, because at the end of the day, if the government is only going to collect as much tax as they do under the legacy system, it might get redistributed. Obviously, the services sector is going to contribute more.